So, Vicky, thanks so much for joining us for an Audible Sessions interview to chat about your brand new book, The Secret to Happy.
Thank you so much for having us. Like, honestly, I know I've said this before, but it is a very impressive room. It's such a nice little setup. I just feel like I'm having a chat with one of my mates. Is this how you get where?
Yeah.
Are you trying to lull us into a false sense of security? Oh, I'm so relaxed. Ask anything.
So, to start with, obviously, the title is The Secret to Happy.
Yeah.
We know that no one can really have the secret to happy. So tell us what you cover in the book.
Oh God, I'd be a multi-millionaire if I had the proper secret. I openly admit in like sort of the first chapter or so that there is no one secret to happy, you know? It's subjective. Happiness to everybody looks different. And what might totally set one person's world on fire might be like a nightmare for someone else. But what I do is I go through chapters of my life and real pivotal moments and look at how some of my darkest times, some of my worst chapters, some of my worst grey's knees have actually led me to learn my biggest lessons and become this like better, higher, more evolved version of myself, whether that be body positivity, whether it be mental health, learning to deal with like social media, friendships, family members, matters of the heart. It's all within there, and it takes one on quite a nice little journey, and I draw on my own experiences, I think, to kind of help people realise maybe where they're going wrong.
There's a lot in the book which is it's quite deep, and there are some moments in there that are quite sad. And what struck me going through it was how things felt so almost fragile and out of control, particularly around the time that you were in Geordie shore. Yeah. And I wonder if you still sometimes feel those feelings, and if you do, if you have ways to kind of cope with them.
Do you know, you're so good at this. I don't mean to patronise you, but I'm just so impressed by you. I was just sitting listening to you there and I was like, God, she's brilliant. So I think everyone assumed when I was on Geordie Shore, because I was so like loud and opinionated, that I was like this force to be reckoned with. And I wasn't insecure and I didn't have down days and I wasn't terrified. But actually, that persona I created, not that I'm not loud, you know, but like that persona I created was all just because I felt so out of control, so out of my comfort zone and so lost in a world that I had no idea how to navigate. So I almost created this like caricature of myself to help me deal with these feelings of powerlessness. And of course, I also drank far too much to hide those feelings of insecurity. And don't get us wrong, like I've not left all of that in the past. Like I still have some days where I'm like, nothing looks good on me. This is going to be the day when everyone realises I'm nothing special, and all of the makeup artists and all of the fancy clothes and all of the lovely things like this are just going to go away. Like I still have days when I feel like that. But I think being honest with yourself and embracing those vulnerabilities, having like moments to cry and having people to confide in and not feeling like you have to put on this constant brave front, that really helps. So rather than trying to be this like superwoman who has it all figured out all the time, or this super strong, bolshy young woman who nobody can hurt their feelings, you know, I just became this version of me, this really honest version. And it makes things so much easier because I'm not hiding, you know? I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. When I'm sad, I cry. And when I'm happy, I laugh. And I let everyone into this world through like platforms like Instagram and social media. And subsequently, I don't feel so alone. I don't feel like I'm dealing with it all on my own. Because that's the worst thing. Isn't it the worst thing where you feel like you're the only person who's ever felt these things? So I suppose to anyone who's feeling like that, I'd just say embrace it. Own it. We all have down days. You cannot have light without shade in life. So yeah, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
We all cry, as I'm showing right now.
And that kind of alone feeling goes hand in hand with the loneliness, which I think a lot of people, particularly like right now over the last couple of years, feel more than ever. And I think it's also people when we don't expect it. We think, oh no, they're surrounded by people. They couldn't be lonely. So I wondered how you sort of experienced loneliness over the years.
So somebody once described loneliness to me as not being alone, but the feeling that nobody cares. And I think that's far more accurate. Like, I know some of my loneliest moments have been when I've been in a relationship with someone who just didn't understand me. Or I've been in a relationship with someone who just didn't care. Or I've been around a massive group of people that I thought were my mates, but they were there for just all the wrong reasons. Loneliness is not being alone. It's being around people who do not care about you. And I think it's really difficult because the alternative sometimes, you know, to being in these big parties with big groups of people for me, especially like in those years when I won the jungle, was actually being on my own. And I think, especially when you're in your 20s and stuff, like, and you're just figuring out who you are, it's very difficult to be really comfortable in your own company. So, there's been loads of moments. And it's always the moments that you'd think, oh God, she was surrounded by people, or she was in Mexico with the cast of Geordie Show. I bet you she was having a whale of a time, where I actually felt the most lonely. But if you are truly comfortable with who you are, if you can look yourself in the mirror every morning, if you can go to sleep with a clear conscience every night, knowing that you are trying to be a good person and knowing that you treat people with respect and kindness and compassion, and you're proud of who you're becoming, you'll be fine in your own company until the people who fucking deserve you actually come along. So that's what I'd suggest, you know, to anyone who's feeling lonely or feeling like they're surrounded by the wrong people, is just work on yourself, you know. And once I did start putting the work in, therapy, life coaching, removing myself from these toxic situations, it became loads easier for us to be on my own because I didn't hate who I was. I actually started to respect myself. And it meant I wouldn't put myself through sitting with people just for the sake of it, who I knew weren't right for us, you know?
And you write in the book that there was a time where you thought that you might want to end your life, that you just didn't want to live anymore. And as someone who's in the public eye and who has experienced those feelings, I wondered how you felt, and having known Caroline Flack, how you felt when she took her life. And how that affected you? So
I think, and I just want to make sure, like, I'm very clear when I answer this, like, losing Caroline was a complete tragedy for everybody. Like, nobody more so than her friends and family who knew her really well. Caroline was like a friend of mine. She was one of the first people who picked up the phone and rang when my ex-partner cheated on us. She was the kindest, sweetest soul. And, like, people have to understand that. I feel devastated that she felt like that was her only option. But I have experienced feelings very similar to that myself, where you feel trapped and powerless and as if the world would be a better place without you in it. It's just so hard and so horrible. But again, like, look at what happened to Caroline and look at what that spawned. It spawned the Be Kind movement. And I think it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks after everything happened that I was having to remind people on my social media that there was another person at the end of their words. People forget things very quickly. And it's a real crime and a real shame because we have already lost far too many bright and beautiful young people for people to not understand the gravity of their words. And I don't know what the answer is because we can't make everybody be nice. We can't hold everybody to a certain standard because everybody's not there. But Instagram, all these big social media giants, there is so much more they can be doing to police social media and make sure that things like that don't happen. And I hate to get on a high horse here, but if you are telling me every time the word COVID is mentioned or a vaccination is mentioned, they can flag that, they can add a disclaimer, they are aware of that, how can they not do it with hate speech? How can they not do it with things that are leading to people taking their own lives? There's more that needs to be done, and there's people that need to be held accountable.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier your therapy and your life coaching and stuff, and I wondered kind of what are the most valuable things that you've got out of that?
Okay, so there are a couple of really, really good things, and I feel like I can't like wax lyrically for hours because everyone will be bored, but I could. But there is a couple tricks and things that my therapists, my life coaches have taught me that have been invaluable to us over the years. So the first thing is you must put yourself first. As women, as British people, as whatever, we are so socialised to believe that saying I'm putting myself first is in some way selfish. It's absolutely not. There's this analogy that my therapists use, and I think it sums it up perfectly. You must put your oxygen mask on first. Like, for example, if you are on a flight and your instant reaction is always going to be to help the person next to you, to help that person, to want to ensure people are okay, but you'll only get to the people to the right and left of you. If you put your oxygen mask on, you'll get to the people at the back of the plane. You can save everybody. And it's just so important. Like, we think that by giving everything to our children or giving everything to our job or giving everything to a relationship, we're by some way being this great person. You're just killing yourself. Put your oxygen mask on first. Protect yourself, and then you can be everything everybody needs. You can be what you need. You can't pour from an empty cup. So no, I firmly believe like it's not selfish to put yourself first. And that was one of the most important things like the Speakmans taught me, because for years I was running around being everything these fellas needed. Trying to save these men, trying to fix these toxic relationships, giving everything to jobs and stuff. And in the end, like, you just end up killing yourself. You end up breaking yourself. So yeah, always put yourself first. It's not selfish. It's good selfish. Second thing I learned, and this is from my life coach, and I swear by this as well. I used to think to be successful, you had to break your back every day. You had to be running around from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. You had to be seen at every event. You had to say yes to every job. You had to take every meeting. You had to be on all the time. And actually, that's bullshit. Like, that, the only way you're going, if you live your life like that, is to burn out. Your life has to have balance. It has to have ebbs and flows. So he taught me to number my days. And really busy days, like today, for example, up at 6, on the rain, here with you, radio, podcasts, meetings, non-stop, get home late, absolutely wiped. That is a 4-day. It takes it out of you. It takes all your energy. It requires you to be on this bright, shiny version of you. So it's a 4-day, Then in life, you'll have 3 days. A 3-day where, you've maybe got a TV appearance, a podcast in the afternoon, and maybe a little event on the nighttime. Still quite high octane, not as like robust as a 4, but definitely still draining. Then your 2 days, you're just in the house, you're doing all your podcasts, you've maybe got a couple of Zooms. It's a 2, you can cope. And your 1 days. And your 1 days are so important. 1 days you turn your phone off. 1 days you don't take calls from your agents. 1 days you watch Emily in Paris back to back and you eat your leftover celebrations and you wear your pajamas and you don't brush your teeth. And it's okay. You have to have 4 days in life. You have to have those 4s to feel alive. To feel like you're achieving, to feel like you're driven, to feel the best version of you. But you can't be that version on those 4 days if you haven't had a 1.
Yeah.
So listen to your body. If you're doing a load of consecutive 4 days, you're going to crash, you're going to burn, and you're going to snap at the wrong person. So put in a 1 day. I know it's difficult when we've got kids and husbands and dogs and plants and all these things that rely on us, but you can't pour from an empty cup. So make sure you are numbering your days and putting in those little cushions, those little buffers that help you show up and be that best version of you on your 4 days.
Yeah. And in the book, you write also about kind of growth and like your aspirations and moving into sort of different TV projects and things like that. So I wondered in terms of like maybe things you're filming at the moment, how you feel like you've kind of grown into those roles and how your growth over the last 5-10 years has enabled you to get to a a point where it's like it's doing something different, it's something new and exciting that you wanted to do?
I think coming from like a background of reality TV, it's very difficult to be recognised in any other space. And for years, I didn't mind that. For years, I was just quite content to roll from one to the next. The Geordie shows to X on the Beach to slightly different shows, but still within that reality TV world. Things like I'm a Celebrity, MasterChef, all the rest of it. And I felt really fulfilled for a while, but I knew deep down I wanted something more, whether that was to present my own shows or move into a more investigative journalistic space, more of a documentary environment. And it hasn't been an easy transition because, like I say, when you come from reality TV, there is like this stereotype and preconceived notion that we are only good for one thing, potentially talentless, and more often than not, unintelligent or vapid. And I've had to fight for the best part of like 7 years, I'd say, since leaving Geordie Shore, to show people that I can be something else. And over the last couple of years in particular, I've had to distance myself from your coach trips and your master chefs and all these things that I love, I still love. Yeah. But it's because I know that if I've got any hope of being seen as someone who can do something else, I have to prove it. I have to prove it. And you can't have one foot on one place still trying to be another thing, you know? So like my life coach describes it as these two things. He says like, at the moment, I'm on this desert island. And like, I love this desert island. It's absolutely class. Like it's got really good palm trees and the coconuts always fall off and there's some nice little fishes. And I know this island. But in the distance, I can see this other island. And I don't know quite what's on it yet. But I have this feeling that the fish are bigger and that it's always sunny and that I know I'll do really well on that island. So I start swimming, but every time the sea gets choppy and the sky gets dark, I turn back. And that's like going to reach that next goal, isn't it? Mm. Every time I've gone to do it and got myself out of my comfort zone, when things have got hard and like a show's presented itself, I've gone back to what I know. I've ran back to reality TV. And it's taken me years to realise that if I'm always running back, I'm never going to get to that next island. Mm. So I've worked over the last couple of years at putting a bit of distance between myself and it. And I'm really pleased I have, because I'm finally on the cusp of something exciting and getting these new opportunities and stuff, but it hasn't been easy. Yeah. And I'm scared all the time, thinking that I'm not going to be good at it and thinking that I'm going to prove everybody right who didn't think I could do it. So yeah. It's but then nothing good ever happens in your comfort zone, does it? Yeah. So no, I'm absolutely fucking terrified.
Do you know, like, have you sort of worked out how to deal with that pressure, that worry that, you know, the naysayers, you know, that they're right? Have you worked out how to deal with that?
I mean, I cry a lot. Like, I do believe in a good cry. I think it's very cathartic. Like, literally, like, Erkan, my fella, will come over and he'll be like, what we're crying for this time? I'm like, you don't understand. So, no, I think always feel your feels, have a good cry if that's what you need to just get it all out there. It's incredibly therapeutic. But I've just found honesty is really the best option for things like that. Like, for years, I acted like, I've got this. Nothing scares me. Nothing bothered. You can say what you want about me. I'm not bothered. I've got a thick skin. Of course, it did all bother me, you know. And when it just manifested itself in a really horrible way, that attitude. So, no, now I'm far more honest. And like I'll say on my Instagram, I'm terrified. I'm terrified that you're going to think I'm no good. I'm terrified that no one's going to watch it. I'm terrified that I've shared too much. And actually, like, people can relate. Yeah. We can all relate to feeling like we've put ourselves out there and no one's going to accept her. So I find honesty is the best policy for that, because people are a lot nicer than we give them credit for most times.
And one of the things that you're really honest about is that one of your motivations has always been money. And earning money. But then also I think in this book it comes through that you're also motivated now by making your mum and like your sister and your family and your really close friends proud. And I wondered why those things, like, they're quite different, like, making your family proud of you and making money, but why those are both kind of so important.
I think everyone hates to kind of say like, oh, I want to be rich. But like, I don't know why.
No, I don't know why.
I don't know why. Like, I really want to be very rich. And I don't want to be rich so I can walk around with designer handbags and like lord my lifestyle over other people or act like a twat on Instagram. Like, I want to be rich because it gives me the freedom to do things I really care about. Like, I take my mum on holiday. If my sister is struggling, I can help her out. There's nothing my friends need. I wasn't always able to do that. For a long time, like, I didn't have a lot. And it's important to me to never be in that position again. To never need a man. To never feel powerless. And that's why I work. I work because I don't want to feel like that. And I work because I don't want my friends and family to feel like that. But also, like, I don't feel like we should ever be ashamed of wanting to be successful or rich. Like, there's almost like a stigma about saying it. But I think as long as you want those things for the right reasons, you should feel no shame in admitting it. But yeah, like, my mom and like my sister and my friends have always been like a huge influence on me. They were there when I had an out, you know?
Yeah.
And there's been people come in my life since then who are completely considered to be fair weather friends. Who I know if things got tough or if I lost everything or if I had a Geordie Shore-sized scandal again, there'd be nowhere to be seen. So I always try and make the people who were there for me when I wasn't this version of me, who I was probably a bit more difficult and a bit harder to love, I always make sure I'm endeavouring to make them proud. And every day that I improve and every day that I'm happy and every day that I do charity work or I use my platform for good, every day I'm becoming more and more of the person I want to be. I know I'm making them proud. So, yeah, I don't think like you should just strive for one thing. And I know even though my goals are really different and at opposite ends of the spectrum, like, that's okay. Yeah. We are fantastically multifaceted as human beings. We can be a multitude of things. We can want to be a good person, but we can also want to be really fucking rich as well. Doesn't make you bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, I think, your first audiobook. Obviously, you've got your podcast,
Yes!
The Secret too, but how did you find narrating the audiobook?
Oh, God, I cried all the way through, didn't I? And the first couple of days I did of it was absolutely fine because I just, like, went in trackies and I had my hair scraped back and, like, the fella who was helping us, he was like, do you want to take a second? And I'm like, yes, I do. And I would just sob and then get back to it. And it was important for me to do it because I felt like this is my voice. These are my beliefs. These are my... and if it was anybody else reading it, you know, even though, like, it would have been amazing to have Emma Thompson do it or, like, you know, it wouldn't have sounded like me. So it was really important. But the last day I went to do it, I'd had, like, an advert in the morning. And then in the evening, I was going out for, like, Erkan's brother's birthday meal. So I was, like, trying to make my makeup and hair last all day. And honestly, like, I walked out of that little studio room and I must have looked like death on a plate. Like, I just had, like, mascara streaming all down my face. And it was terrible. And I was like, do I look okay? And in that moment, I needed one of my honest friends because he was like, yeah, you look fine. Don't worry about your friend. I look like a bag of shit, mate. Be honest. So, no, it was the right thing to do and it was an amazing thing to do. And I'm so pleased it is my voice on there, but it was tough, mate.
Yeah.
I've, like, had to relive these moments from the book that... I'd absolutely convinced myself I'd dealt with, you know, like heartbreaks and loss and grief and things that wanting to believe I was this really evolved person I thought I'd totally processed, but actually I hadn't. On a lot of the stuff I'd just compartmentalised. But writing this forced me to deal with things head on, some of the traumas, and reading it, that you deal with it again in a different way. So no, it was super traumatic. But I know I did the right thing. And I hope people appreciate that because I looked like a right bag of shit at that dinner.
Well, everyone can enjoy listening and picturing you as you are now.
Oh, it would be such a lie. I looked like a foot.
It's been such a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The pleasure has been all mine.